Okay, welcome to the Microsoft Excel tutorial series that we're having for news production. This first video, we're just going to go through a brief orientation to Microsoft Excel. So let's get started. What is Microsoft Excel? It's the industry standard spreadsheet. And what is a spreadsheet? A spreadsheet is merely an arrangement of cells that can kind of communicate with one another. So let's take a look. Here's the basic interface, and most of what we're going to be doing in class is going to look pretty much just like this. You can see that each of the worksheets is a collection of cells. Each cell, if we zoom in, is, let's see, here we go, is defined by the intersection between a column identifier, which is alphabetical, and a row identifier, which is numerical. So this cell would be A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, and B3. And these documents can get pretty big. In a standard worksheet, there are over 1 million rows available to you and over 16,000 columns available. And so what that means is each sheet is capable of having over 16 billion cells. And that's pretty big. So, but we're not going to do anything that gets anywhere near that big for this class, so relax a little bit. The toolbar is divided up into a series of tabs up here. There's the Home tab, the Insert tab, the Draw tab, the Layout tab, Formulas, Data, Review, View, and Developer. Now, just about 90% of what we're going to be doing can be done in the Home tab, so that's where I want you guys to focus. Also, up here under the main menu, under View, you have the option to look at your document in the normal view or the page layout view. The page layout view is sort of a preview of what it would look like if you were printing this out, and I find it just to be super annoying. So, for all intents and purposes, let's stick with the normal view for our work here. Another feature, down in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see, let's see if I can zoom in on that. There's a little scale indicator down here, all right? And so you can adjust that to make your cells bigger, to sort of zoom into your sheet if your eyes are failing like mine are. It helps to be able to zoom in and take care of that. Some other things that you're going to want to know how to identify in here are the formula bar. Right up here is the formula bar. What this does is it shows you the content of a cell, and it also is the field in which you're going to enter your formulas, and we'll get to that in a later video. Finally, in terms of the orientation to the interface, I want to talk to you about the status bar. The status bar right now isn't showing anything down here because there's nothing selected. But at the bottom of your window, if you do select some cells, like for example, I have these numbers just entered in here, you can see, just because that they're numbered, that there are 35 cells I have selected. All right, so down here, what this does is this shows you some information about those cells. It shows you that there's an average of the value of those cells is 18, that 18 cells are selected, and that if you sum them up, that's 630. So there are all sorts of useful bits of information in here that can be gleaned without having to kind of go through any formulas or functions with your actual data. So just be aware that your status bar can be very, very useful. Okay, now getting around, that's another topic here. And what is really probably the most common way to sort of navigate in a smaller spreadsheet is just by clicking on the cells that you need to see by using your scroll wheel on your mouse, so on and so forth. But you can also navigate by using your cursor keys. These are your arrow keys on your keyboard, and you can move up and down, right and left, using your cursor keys. Now, also, there's a concept that's very important to Excel called adjacency, and that is the arrangement of cells that are adjacent to one another, and Excel can identify that. So if we want to move our selection from one end of an adjacency to another, what we do is we hold down the Command key on a Mac, and then we use our cursor keys. So if I hold the Command key down and hit down, that will take me to the end of that group of adjacencies. Same thing by going up, same thing going right or left. Now this takes me all the way to the end, which is XFD on this sheet. Because once you pass an adjacency, you're sort of in no man's land. But remember that for moving around sort of big groups of data, holding that Shift key down will allow you, or not the Shift key, I'm sorry, the Command key will allow you to move big distances. Similarly, we can talk about selecting cells, all right? So normally we just select one cell at a time because that's all we're going to be doing in terms of entering data. But as soon as we start trying to make comparisons or analysis of our cells, we're going to want to be able to select multiple cells. So the most common way of selecting multiple cells is by clicking and dragging and releasing. That's called a paint select. And that's very effective. So you can do that with any sort of collection of cells. Another key way that you'll find of selecting cells is by selecting a whole row or column. So the way you would do that is just by clicking on the column or row identifier. In this instance, I'll click on A, and that selects everything in column A. Now, rows and columns can also be paint selected, so if I click, drag, and release, I can select multiple columns. Also, I can click, drag, and release multiple rows. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. If for some reason you have to collect or select non-adjacent cells, you would do that with, I believe it's the Command key. Okay, so you would click one cell, hold the Command key down, and click another cell. That almost never happens, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Most of the time, you're just going to be selecting, adjacent collections of cells. So I think that about does it for this edition or episode or whatever we're calling it. And next we're going to get into entering data. So thanks for watching.